Hi, Penny Pinchers. Welcome back to another episode of Practical Penny. I'm so happy to see that you guys stopped in to see my second episode on my channel. This particular episode has been inspired by a dear friend of mine who's going through a situation with money, and it has had a profound impact on her self-esteem. And it got me to thinking about how money makes me feel and the relationship that I have with it. So if you like to understand or you're curious to figure out, well, how does money affect or impact my self-esteem? And what are the ways that I can have a healthy relationship with money? Then stay tuned. Also, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Come on now, what's wrong with you? So when you think of money and the type of relationship you have with it, most people tend to think that the more money they have, the better off they will be, the less problems that they would have. However, this is not the case. And I know this because I have been, if you look in my description, one who has had money and then one who has been broke. Just to share a little of my story, there was a time when I was actually homeless, living out of my car. And I thought that rock bottom was the worst thing ever for me. However, it got me to think a little bit about the type of relationship I have with money. First being, am I responsible with money? Does money make me feel bad, or does it pretty much enhance my life? And considering those factors helped me to work on the relationship that I have with money. Oh yes, people, in order to understand the power of money and how it impacts your self-esteem, you have to first reflect on it, and you have to work on a relationship just like you work on any other relationship, whether it be your marriage, in the workplace, the relationship that you have with children, because it does have a profound impact. Money does not define who you are. It does not define your self-worth. It does not define your spiritual worth. It does not define anything. It's simply a means for you to live the life that you need to live while we're here. So when I say that, I want you to think a little bit about, if you have a relationship with money that makes you feel awful, it keeps you up late at night, the absence of this money, this monetary piece of paper, determines how you feel about yourself or look at yourself, I would say you have a very unhealthy relationship with money. You should be defined by your characteristic traits. Whether you're a good person, do you try to put positive vibes in the world? Do you try to do for others? Are you there for your fellow man or fellow woman? Are you respectful? Are you supportive to other people? Those are the things that you need to worry and focus about. Now, it's not to say that money is not important and you don't need to strive for it. You absolutely need to, but it shouldn't define who you are as a person. Now, I'm someone who has several jobs. Not only do I work for the educational field, but I also do some private consulting and contracting work. So I typically am working a lot towards getting money. But the money that I get, it's not to buy things that I think will make me look better out in the world. It's not to buy more Gucci and Louis or any of that. I would say that part of me having a healthy, ongoing relationship with money is living a simplified life. My money is spent towards doing things for others, such as providing my children the lifestyle that I think they deserve. Money towards arts and crafts for my Girl Scouts, and enjoy seeing the pleasure that others get when I give back. That's gratifying for me. So if you want to have a continuously ongoing positive relationship with money that doesn't make you like sick to your stomach, because the absence of it will define whether you get that new bag or you get that new car, but living the more simplified life and giving back to others will change your relationship and make it one that's positive. There is a body of research out there that says when you give back to others, and I wish I could quote it. If I do find it, I'll leave it in the description box. But when you give back to others, it's more of a high, more of the adrenaline, more of the juices that get you feeling good about yourself than when you actually receive. So in essence, I think, and I am a spiritual person, I believe that we were built to give back. We were built to serve. And so money for me allows me to be in a position to give back to others. And that's gratifying, which turns the relationship I have with money from one that if there's an absence of it, I feel sick to my stomach, but one towards I can do good for others. And that makes me feel good because of it when I do have money. My next little thought about money is that it's not a weapon, folks. It's not a weapon to abuse your spouse. It's not a weapon to fight a war against another family member, but it's a way that we can help one another when we do have it. Spend a little time at night really reflecting on how money makes you feel and the power that it has over your self-esteem. And then that will begin to shift or open up your mind a little bit about what you should do in order to move the relationship to a more positive base. Now that we talked a little bit about what money should or shouldn't be when it comes to the way that you live your life, I want to change our mindset and shift the conversation to talking about ways that we can have a healthy, positive, strength-based relationship with our money. The first tip I would give is to reflect on the kind of relationship that you have with money. My next piece of advice for you is to live a simplified life. Start skimming some of the fat out of it. If you are one that typically goes out to dinner 5 days a week, well, why do you go out 5 days a week? Maybe time could be spent at home cooking a meal or eating by candlelight at your dining room table that never is actually used. But think about ways that you can trim the fat, and so you're not chasing all of these physical items that you think make you a better person or think makes you happier, but instead, by simplifying your life, you're now working towards the necessities and really giving focus on giving back to others. Next, you want to work on budgeting your money. When you take the time to reflect, simplify, the next logical step is, now that I have this pot of money every month, what do I do with it? How do I allocate it to the things that I need versus the things that I want? Because we all know needs and wants look very different. For example, a need is you need your PSE&G to be on, you need water to be on, you need phone for communication, you need clothing on your back. A want is, does that clothing need to be the top of the line, latest spring fashion of 2018? Or can it simply be something from one of my favorite stores, H&M, which is reasonable? So wants and needs look very different. Budgeting and through a simplified lens will help you to determine how you allocate that money. If you haven't checked out my first video, I would say that now is a good time after this video to go check it out. I talk a little bit about ways that you can begin budgeting your money, very simple and basic. If you would like more information about it, I offer up in that video, which I'll offer in this video, is to send you information on how I began to work the spreadsheet. And it's something, folks, that I still am currently working at. My husband and I, whenever there's a discussion about money, we go back to the chart or the Excel spreadsheet and we try to work out the numbers so that it makes sense for us, where we have a little bit of money going into savings and then a little bit of money going into entertainment and taking care of the household needs. So on this journey of discovering how money impacts your self-esteem, I've talked a little bit about what money shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a weapon. It shouldn't define who you are. Then I took you down the journey or the path that said, in order to work on your relationship with money, you have to take time to reflect and determine the kind of relationship you have with money. Then we moved a little bit away from that even further and said, now that you know what the money makes you do and how it makes you feel, it's time to simplify your life, giving back to others so that you can feel good about where your money goes. And then I talked lastly about budgeting. So where do we go from there? Obviously, it's sticking to it, folks. The most failure is found in this fact that people don't see it through. It's great to budget. It's great to think about things very deeply in the middle of the night or during the day. It's great to have conversations over money. However, if you don't stick with it, if you don't stick with your plan, then what was the point of even making a plan? It's going to be tough, but it constantly runs like a cycle. You're thinking about it, you're reflecting about it, there's some action behind your thoughts, and now you're continuously thinking and reworking the plan. So when you think about your money, think of it as a continuum. It's not just, I'm going to go ahead and reflect, I'm going to go ahead and make a plan, and it's going to move towards moving that plan to continue the cycle all over again. It's never ending. The same as your relationship with the people in your life. I'll take a more simplified example. When you're at work, don't you typically have to have conversations with colleagues in order to get that project completed? But there's some action behind it. It's not just thinking and talking and planning, but there's action behind it. Think about the relationship that you have with your money as being the same. There's some thinking, there's some planning, there's action. And then the cycle continues because you're back to reevaluating, which puts you in that reflection process. So that's it, Penny Pinchers. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on money and the impact that it has on your self-esteem. I wish you a wonderful, prosperous day. Keep fighting the good fight out there. I know it's tough, but if you stick with it, you can make all your financial dreams come true. Bye-bye now.